Welcome back. Since 1990, Mercy Center has empowered women and their families in the South Bronx to liberate themselves from economic poverty. And through food distribution, online workshops, and more, their work has not ceased during this pandemic. Joining us now to discuss is Stephen J. Stritch, the third Executive Director at the Mercy Center. Thank you so much for joining us, Steve.
Oh, thank you. It's my pleasure. It's always a pleasure to talk about Mercy Center and what we do. So for 30 years, Mercy Center has been a hub here in the South Bronx community. And although our tagline says community and transformation, it's really more about building the sense of community within this community and helping people to feel safe and secure. And then in that kind of environment, they're able to recognize the power that they have to transform their lives. And that's really what we've tried to do for 30 years through the programs, classes, services, everything that Mercy Center offers to our participants.
Thank you, Steve, for sharing. And has Mercy Center's work shifted in a significant way due to the COVID-19 pandemic? How have things changed over at the Mercy Center?
So really for 30 years, Mercy Center has listened to the needs of the community and then responded. We're not an organization that says, oh, let's try doing such and such, and let's see if people will participate. No, we've listened to the community and we respond to the needs that they have. And so when the pandemic hit, we recognized that our people were going to be frontline workers. Our people are the service providers. And they were going to be directly impacted by that. And because many of them are in the service industries, they lost their jobs. They didn't have the income that they had previously had. So we realized that we needed to do more than just provide the services. And fortunately, Tacombe was one of the first restaurants that contacted us about distributing meals. And from there, it grew to other organizations, some even within the Bronx. We had a vegan restaurant that offered to provide vegan meals for us. And literally to date, we have distributed 22,180 meals. We also received groceries that we were able to distribute. And once one organization started sending them to us and they heard about it, then others also did it. And to date, we have distributed groceries for 3,560 families.
Wow.
We also realized that people need more than just food, to live. And so we were fortunate that we were able to get funding to provide debit cards for our participants. And to date, we have distributed 121,900 debit cards that for our participants to use to cover their rent or to buy supplies that they need, things other than the food that we were able to provide for them.
Incredible work as always over at the Mercy Center. Thank you so much for sharing, Steve, all the help that has been provided to the community here in the South Bronx for over 30 years. In the South Bronx. Can we also discuss, elaborate a little bit more on the food insecurity that has ravaged the Mott Haven community, even before the pandemic, but now especially throughout? How has Mercy helped aid the community through food pantry distribution events? Are they available for anyone who comes over to the Mercy Center, or do you have to sign up to receive this food?
So we do provide, we have 2,700 participants, families that we service during the course of the year. So we do offer, these food items to them first. But we also recognize that in this area of the Bronx where we are, there are a number of other people who don't come to us, but also need the food. And so we provide it first for our participants, but then we have also offered it to members of the community as well, the geographical community. Historically, Mercy Center has always done a Thanksgiving pantry, for example. And I think what makes our pantry different than others is that it's not just about making a collection of food and putting a turkey with it and saying to families, here, this is for you for Thanksgiving. The way Mercy Center has done it in the past was we were able to put out all of the food, and we had our families come and they would literally go through the line. And many of them would bring their children with them too, because they were able to choose the food that they wanted. And as you can imagine, it probably is hard for families to go shopping with their children and not be able to buy everything that the children want. But in our pantry, as they go through the line, they're able to choose which vegetables they want, the kind of potatoes they want, things like that. So we always try to maintain the dignity, or help our participants to maintain their dignity. This year, we recognized we couldn't do the pantry in the same way, but we didn't want to lose what we already had established. So we were able to distribute over 500 turkeys. We did schedule people to come social distanced. We did most of the distribution outside, wearing masks. But the other thing is we also had a number of organizations, schools, churches, charities that provided us with income that we were able to go and purchase food gift cards, so that the families, we weren't just giving them a turkey and some of the staples that we had, that we had collected, but we were also able to give them a gift card that they could then go and buy the other foods that they needed to provide, for their families for a Thanksgiving meal.
And Steve, can we also learn about what other types of resources and services Mercy Center has continued to provide Bronxites with during this pandemic?
Okay, so most people come to Mercy Center to learn the English language. That's basically their introduction. So they sign up for the classes and then they learn about the other services, that we provide. And so when we decided in March that we needed to go remote, that was the first thing. So first we decided actually on a Thursday, and we didn't end our on-site services until Monday night, because that gave us a chance to meet with every class in person between Thursday and Monday night to basically instruct them on how our classes were going to continue on their phones. So we did that. And then we also realized that beyond the phones, they were going to have competition at home with their children who were also working online. And so we were able to get funding to provide tablets for our participants. So we did our adult education classes, we moved remote. We also did the same with our after-school program. So our after-school program started working with our students remotely, not just on the academic, activities, but also social activities. Because as the weeks turned into months, we realized how hard it was for those children to be home and not seeing their friends and the members of the community, that we are. So we started also offering activities for them that were online. And then, eventually, as we moved back into on-site services, we do have the after-school program running where they're able to come to Mercy Center in very small groups and work one-on-one with basically tutoring and some different art projects, that we're able to do. We also recognize that where families were struggling with the stress of this environment. And so our family workers were able to work with them on Zoom meetings on how to deal with stress. We also recognized that because this was a stressful time, we needed to do more workshops on domestic violence so that our participants, had the resources they needed to deal with the stress and some of the circumstances of that happened within their home. We also did workshops. We have also done workshops on rent eviction prevention to help people to realize, what they can do on behalf of themselves.
Thank you for sharing, Steve. And does the Mercy Center usually have like a survey of some sort in order to assess what issues are affecting the community? Because all of these, of course, are issues that have been exacerbated due to the pandemic in this area. So I'm really glad to hear that these resources are being offered online for these families.
Yes. So most of our surveys, we do written surveys at the end of each class, okay, like at the end of each semester. So we do get feedback from the adult education students. But we also, though, have our family workers who work with individual families who get feedback from them as well. And so for our family workers, once we went to online services, they were dealing with all of the families first by phone, in phone calls, but then we also were able to teach them how to use Zoom so that we could do individual Zoom meetings with each of the families. And it was through those conversations that we really heard what the needs of the community were and what we needed to do to help meet those needs.
Thank you for sharing. And let's say someone is tuned in right now and is interested in participating in an English learning workshop. How can they do this? How can they participate?
So we do registration basically 3 different times during the year. And what registration means is you come to Mercy Center, and we did do registration in person. We had everyone scheduled so that they came in one at a time and met with one of our family workers, completely masked and taking all the necessary precautions. But the idea is that we basically interview them and test them on where they are with their English English language, so that we're then able to place them in a class where they're going to meet success without being bored. They still need to be challenged, and we need to pick them up. So we have 3 different levels of instruction, and we do the testing. So they register first, they're given a time to come to be tested, and then from there they're placed into these classes.
Is there an email or phone number that folks can call or contact in order to find out more?
Yes. So our main number is 718-993-2789. Our website is mercycenterbronx.org. We're also on Facebook and Instagram, as well, and make posts, accordingly. But the best place to find out the most recent and most up-to-date information is through our website.
Perfect. Thank you, Steve. Mercy Center also has an upcoming 2020 virtual gala. Can you just tell us a little bit more about that event, and also help us, spread the information of how people can support and also provide help to these families and help Mercy continue to allocate this resources to families in need?
All right. So basically, our budget is $3.6 million. We don't charge for any classes, services, programs, nothing. But it means we have to raise $3.6 million just to stay functioning and providing what we do. So we do look to our fundraising events as being a very important part of our budget. And so when we weren't able to have our gala, which is our biggest fundraiser in the spring, we decided first to postpone it to the fall, hoping. But when we realized we couldn't do that, we have now gone to a virtual gala. And so our gala is actually on December 8th from 7:30 to 8:30 p.m. We realize that people are on Zoom meetings and on their computer all day long. So we will only ask for 1 hour of their time. And during that hour, we will educate you. We will help you to learn about Mercy Center and what we've done, during this pandemic, and what we have done basically for 30 years. But we also will entertain you. So we have a choir that's been closely connected to Mercy Center who will entertain us with some holiday songs. We will honor some very deserving volunteers who have worked with us over the years. And we will also give you an opportunity to support our work as well. So we will have a paddle raise for Fund a Need, which is really funding our needs to provide these services and programs, at no cost to the community. We also will have some silent auction items that you can, support us and get something actually in return. And then we also will have some reception rooms so that you can join with our very deserving honorees to celebrate the evening with them. So all of this, I guarantee, will be within 1 hour. Everything is planned minute by minute.
Thank you so much, Steve, for sharing with us, and best of luck. Thank you to Mercy Center for all that you've been doing in the South Bronx for the past 30 years.
Oh, thank you. And thanks for giving us this opportunity to share what we do.
Of course. Stephen J. Stritch III is the Executive Director at Mercy Center, and we invite you to visit mercycenterbronx.org for more information on upcoming virtual workshops, events, and more, food pantry distributions that are going on here in Mount Haven. Also, you can call 718-993-2789 for more information on anything you'd like to learn about what's going on over at Mercy Center. That's all for our show today. Thank you for tuning in to BXRx. I'm your host, Sonyi Lopez, wishing you and your family safety and wellness now and always.